You will not be able to stay home, brother. You will not be able to plug in, turn on, and cop out. You will not be able to lose yourself on Skag and skip out for beer during commercials because the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by Xerox in 4 parts without commercial interruptions. The revolution will not show you pictures of Nixon blowing a bugle and leading a charge by John Mitchell, General Abrams, and Spyro Agnew to eat hog maws confiscated from a Harlem sanctuary. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by the Schaefer Award Theater and will not star Natalie Woods and Steve McQueen or Bullwinkle and Julia. The revolution will not give your mouth sex appeal. The revolution will not get rid of the nubs. The revolution will not make you look 5 pounds thinner because the revolution will not be televised, brother. There will be no pictures of you and Willie Mae pushing that shopping cart down the block on the dead run or trying to slide that color TV into a stolen ambulance. NBC will not be able to predict the winner at 8:32 on report from 29 districts. The revolution will not be televised. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers on the instant replay. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers on the instant replay. There will be no pictures of Whitney Young being run out of Harlem on a rail with a brand new process. There will be no slow motion or still lights of Roy Wilkins strolling through Watts in a red, black, and green liberation jumpsuit that he has been saving for just the proper occasion. Green Acres, Beverly Hillbillies, and Hooterville Junction will no longer be so damn relevant, and women will not care if Dick finally got down with Jane on Search for Tomorrow, because black people will be in the street looking for a brighter day. The revolution will not be televised. There will be no highlights on the 11 o'clock news and no pictures of Harry armed women liberationists and Jackie Onassis blowing her nose. The theme song will not be written by Jim Webb or Francis Scott Keys, nor sung by Glenn Campbell, Tom Jones, Johnny Cash, Engelbert Humperdinck, or The Rare Earth. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be right back after a message about a white tornado, white lightning, or white people. You will not have to worry about a dove in your bedroom, the tiger in your tank, or the giant in your toilet bowl. The revolution will not go better with Coke. The revolution will not fight germs that may cause bad breath. The revolution will put you in the driver's seat. The revolution will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised. The revolution will be no rerun, brothers. The revolution will be live.
Hello, my name is Dr. Jeffrey Jamerson, and we're gathered here in the beautiful home of Shelly Daniels in the incomparable city of Pasadena, California. This is a special day. I'm extremely excited to sit in the presence of African American royalty with members of Women in Action, a community organization that has a rich history of positive impact in the Pasadena and Altadena area. Today we will hear their story, the story of Women in Action, and take a trip down memory lane. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. So my first question is a pretty basic question. How did Women in Action start?
Women in Action began in 1971 due to results of a campaign that my father, George Jones, was in. He was running for the city of Pasadena Council, District 1. My parents asked their friends and family to help support his campaign. And so out of that, the help from that, and also the help of the women who were in this group organization called the Freedom Fund from the NAACP, helped raise money to support this campaign. And they worked so well together and worked so hard together that they decided that they didn't want it to end. They wanted to keep the group going to see what they could do for the city of Pasadena and the political and in the community aspect of it. So they kept, they got together, and that's how Women in Action came about.
Did Women in Action have, once it kind of shifted from the political scene to a more community mobilization scene, did you all have a charter, a strategic plan, some type of objective at least in the beginning, that you wanted to accomplish in the community?
I think we kind of wanted to make the citizens of Pasadena and Altadena aware of what was going on, and I think one of the first things that they really did was they organized what they called a kettle agenda, and that's when they got together to discuss things about what was going on in the community. Correct me if I'm wrong. That was, what needed to be done in the community.
So
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
When you posed that question, were you alluding to the fact that we had a purpose and a goal that we set up for our organization, and then that formalized us as Women in Action, and from that we gathered to set agendas and purposes for what we wanted to accomplish within the community? Is that what you're saying, Shelley?
I think we got a constitution also.
Yeah,
So
the Constitution,
we have a
right.
constitution. We formed
Exactly.
a constitution.
Right.
Okay.
As to the purpose, and there's
Yeah.
a copy of the constitution over there on the table.
Oh, that's great.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
we'll have a chance to look at the Constitution. So yeah, that's exactly what I was asking.
All right.
So I know in the early days, as well as current to date, Women in Action holds various functions and or events annually. Can you tell me about some of the functions or events that you started and that you continue to do today?
Charlie, what about?
Well, I suppose one of our functions was keeping Jackie Robinson alive, who was one of our community members. So the Jackie Robinson Awards were established as a purpose for Women in Action. And we are continuing to do that today with the blessing of Mrs. Robinson and the Jackie Robinson Foundation, which benefits a senior or a student from all of the high schools in Pasadena.
Oh, very good. What is or was the onboarding process for new members in Women in Action? Did they fill out an application, or was it by a reference or referral from a current member? How would someone join the organization, or how does someone join the organization?
It's basically from a recommendation for an existing member. Applications are available to all of the members during a certain period during the year, and those applications are completed and by the member and handed in to the membership committee, which is part of the organization, and reviewed and voted on by the existing members.
Very good. What other committees do you have besides the membership committee within Women in Action?
Well, we have community action, education, political, we have budget committees, we have ad hoc committees, so that if there's special issues that arise throughout the course of the year, the president has the charge to appoint an ad hoc committee to address these special issues. Anything else? Did I leave anything out?
One of the largest committees that WIA had was called our Ways and Means Committee.
Mm-hmm.
And they were the ones that were responsible for setting up what fundraisers we would have to support the organization for the year.
Very good. Have you, over the years, I know, as you mentioned, you give out a Jackie Robinson Award. It's usually a scholarship to a senior. Do you ever hear back from past recipients of the Jackie Robinson Award?
Yes, we have one sitting right here in our presence. And we do hear back occasionally from others.
Okay.
But again, as I said, we do have one here in our presence that we're very happy to have with us today.
That's awesome. So you were a previous award winner. Can you tell us your name and tell us about that experience?
Yes, my name is Clement Taylor. Everybody call me Clay. That's
Okay.
easier to say than my first name. But back in 1974, I was a senior at John Muir High School, and I didn't know anything about Women in Action, but I was an active member of the community in Pasadena. I played basketball for Muir, and had a lot of things going on in my life and in the community because of different things that were going on around us at that age. There was the beginning of the gangs, and then there was drugs and alcohol, and I was the kind of student that did not participate in those kind of things, so I was an introvert. And so during my senior year, I really had no direction. I really had no idea what I wanted to do with myself. I had offers to go to college because of basketball in my when I was pretty good at art too, so I had a couple of scholarships, an art scholarship and scholarships for basketball. But having that push and that extra drive to kind of like get me over to that next step, I was presented with this plaque here from the Women in Action. Till this very day, I hold these words very close to me. Has demonstrated perseverance, faith, ambition, and self-pride. I had none of this back then. But today, this is my standard right here. And this is what I pass on to my son and my grandkids, and try to teach them the things that I had missing. And the ladies here, which Mrs. Ellison, I met her. I didn't know she was one of the Women in Action, but I met her when I was working, and became very good friends, and held on to that friendship for all these years. And I'm here today.
All right. Are there any other testimony or words of wisdom that anyone wants to say?
In addition to the scholarships that we gave to the high school seniors, we also had a George Jones scholarship, which was given to a black male student who was entering law school. We also set up a Ruth Valentine scholarship for a single mother who was returning to school. Those are a couple of other scholarships that we have done over the years.
Those are great. And those two scholarships also occur in the same award ceremony that Jackie Robinson.
Correct.
Now that's a good question, because the Jackie Robinson are awards. The George Jones is a scholarship. Okay, and it's for 3 years, and we follow the student. So the high school Jackie Robinsons are awards.
And that means that the selection of the student is not based on the highest academic standard.
Right.
It's based on improvement from their sophomore year to their senior year. So we look for that improvement in their grades and their initiatives, and not necessarily them being the top students in their classes.
Okay.
That was one of the unique things about our particular award, because most organizations give to the top students, and our youngsters, our young people, are kind of forgotten, and they need to be applauded as well. They have really turned their lives around. The light bulb turned on for them before they have the opportunity to graduate, and that's what makes them so unique.
That was the one thing that made the difference for me, because I was one of those students. I was very intelligent, but I just didn't have that motivation. There was no one to guide me or to push, and so sometimes when you least expect it, somebody will say something or see something in you that you never saw in yourself, and push me right out the door.
Yeah.
And that did make a difference, because I wasn't one of those students that would have even graduated if I had not had some motivation to come from somewhere.
Well, I want to give another testimony to those awards, because my brother was, along with Clay, was one of the first recipients of the Jackie Robinson Award. And he was having fun at Blair, not doing what he should have been doing. But I think that award really made a difference for him. In fact, I know it did, because he went on to graduate from the University of Utah. He has been in this community and doing work politically and just community stuff. He's a real estate developer now, and he has often come back to talk to Women in Action. He's often done things and contributed to the community. And I think really and truthfully that award, the recognition that you don't have to be top of your class to do well, that you can do well. And one of the most important things I think was that he learned that you have to give back. If much is given to you, much is expected of you to give. And he does that. I'm not saying that just because he's my brother, but I know that he does that. And he also has that award plaque hanging in his office.
I always had a lot of fun at was the day at the races at Santa Anita racetrack. But I know there have been other fundraising events. Can you tell us about some of those?
Well, we've had, in the 4 we've been in existence, we've had many various fundraisers. I know for a fact that we've had at least 11 musical concerts or festivals. One in particular is it was a twofer. We had the music festival, and we also sold tickets to give away a PT Cruiser. That was probably the biggest fundraiser we ever had in our 40 plus years of existence.
Is that the one at the Rose Bowl?
No. That was at a private home here in Altadena, and we had probably 1,000 people in attendance, and we raised pretty close to $60,000. That was the biggest one. But we've had many others, and maybe somebody else can add to that.
Well, we also have Wind Beneath My Wings, and that was where she reminded me of the organization picked a recipient, one of us, and others. I happened to be a recipient, and I just remembered that. And we made quite a bit of money there, too. We were at the Rose Bowl with
Brookside.
And we raised quite a bit of money with that, too.
Yeah.
Recognizing people in the community that had worked a lot. It was very successful, and it was very glamorous. Everybody put on their furs and long dresses and tuxedos. I mean, we were the cats meow.
Also, we had Trip Around the World. That was one of the first fundraiser, right? First thing we had, like you said, was the Yellow Agenda. The Trip Around the World was one of the first ones, and it was very. It lasted for quite a while.
Yeah, we had
several of them, but that was a lot of fun too. You had at least 3 different houses that you were represented in food, like a Latin house. We had Mexican food. We had an Italian house, and we also had
soul food.
Soul food. That was the main one. That was at Mom and Dad's house, George and Shirley's house.
The party house.
And then you had a party house, and that's where you partied. And back there in the day, the tickets were very reasonable, very much. But we still raised quite a bit of money, and that was a lot of fun because you drove around to each home and tasted a little sample of the food. And we had that for quite a while, about 4 or 5 years. So that's one of the other ones too.
We also had a New Year's Eve party
several
years ago that were a lot of fun, and I remember them quite well because my parents would always be coming out here to visit from the East Coast to get away from the cold, and I would always take them to that event, and they really enjoyed it.
Women in Action also was one of the first organizations to have an art show. Black art show, and we also had several plays. I really think the plays started with us. I do, and we were very successful with them.
And to expound off of that, the play thing, we used community actors and used local schools as our auditorium. That was the unique thing about them. We gave these community actors an opportunity to present to the community as actors.
Were the original plays written by like a writer and director from the community?
Right. Actually, it was a lady by the name of Green. She used to be a member of my church. And at First AME Pasadena, they had the Richard Allen Theater Guild. And those were some of the actors that we drew on. And had a really successful one called Zooman and the Sign. Very good. And we always had a theater party, either a post-theater party or a pre-theater party.
We had one of our own members write a play too.
Yes, we did.
Our 10th anniversary.
Our 10th anniversary.
She wrote a play.
And we acted it.
And
we were the actors in it. That's true.
The script was laying over there.
Yeah, it's over there on the table.
Yeah.
Another fundraiser was the Albert Ailey Theater.
Yeah.
That was another very good fundraiser.
So not only that, also Women in Action had thank you parties to thank all their supporters
Yeah.
and the people who helped them along the way. And they've had several of those. I remember the one especially at the Hotel Green.
Oh, yeah.
That was huge. I can remember that part, but I guess I'm doing pretty good. That was a really nice thank you party, and it was well attended. So
Yeah.
we have given back to the community also that way.
Another thing that's even prevalent now is we've published 2 cookbooks, and now we're just introducing, why don't you hold it up, Sarah? Our 3rd cookbook.
Edition.
Our 3rd edition of the cookbook. Hold it up, yeah. So those are all fundraisers that helps us support the efforts that we support throughout the community.
Shelley, did you have?
And
I lost my thought.
Okay.
And also back in the day, because of Jackie and because we were kind of tuned into the athletes, we had a couple of SIP with the athletes to meet different athletes, and we would have like an afternoon and several athletes would participate and come, and that was kind of a free thing also.
Yeah.
So it kind of gave us also an end to the sports world of the athletes that participated with us. I was looking at a couple of the books of the John Muir, of the people who have made it on to the different football teams that were part of us and who came to participate and who came to support us free.
Yeah.
Okay, and who were, a lot of them were our guest speakers also.
And we also had a lot of help from the Dodgers too, right?
Right,
Yeah.
Los Angeles
Los
Dodgers
Angeles
helped
Dodgers.
us out a lot because of Jackie Robinson. Also.
Very good.
This is a little off from the fundraisers, but I think we have several ex-presidents in this room here.
Oh,
Yeah,
So,
I think so.
could we identify our
Absolutely. Why don't we identify the next
Well,
president?
start this way and then go around.
Well, I'm a late bloomer, but I was president of Women in Action. And I was very proud because I got to meet Willie Brown. Willie Brown recognized Women in Action on the Senate floor in Sacramento. We were amongst all these deltas, and Willie Brown called out Women in Action. And were we proud? I tell you I was.
He also spent an afternoon with us at the Valentine's House as a speaker and a fundraiser. So he not only recognized us in Sacramento, he recognized he was here. When he was here, he recognized us.
And Wilson Riles did too.
Yeah.
Superintendent of Instruction for the state of California.
He was a regular.
He really supported
He
us.
supported us all the time.
The president.
I was also president of Women in Action, and my best girlfriend, Barbara Webster, is the one who introduced me to the group, and she said, it's an interesting group of very strong-willed women, and in order to keep control of my meetings, I actually invested in a PA system because I had to be louder than anyone else in the room in order to get the business done. But it was fun, and I enjoyed it. And like I said, it's an experience. These ladies have very strong opinions, and that's not going to change. But they do also a lot of good work.
I was also a president. My strong point was Jackie Robinson. I was the personal friend of the families. And Mrs. Walker kept me in touch. She gave us lots of paraphernalia to start with, along with Rachel, and up until her death, she was a really staunch friend and supporter of Women in Action. Matter of fact, the whole Robinson family. The interesting part was in my year as president, Mac felt that he should have been honored by Women in Action instead of Jackie. So he proceeded to tell me off and what I should do, but we kind of worked it out so it was it was our choice to have Jackie.
I was the president of Women in Action for a year. And
2 years.
2 years, I'm sorry. My memory's not that good anymore. But I made a lot of friends through Women in Action. When I first moved to California, I think Nedra was one of the first people that I met, and she became a good friend. And I enjoyed Women in Action because it gave me something to do with my peers. Mm-hmm. And my happiest time was the trip around the world. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed that more than anything.
Mm-hmm. I was an interim president of Women in Action. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Women in Action from the time I joined. I was brought in by the first president of Women in Action, Faye Cockrell. Mm-hmm. And at that time, we were all over the place. We were at school board meetings. We were at City Hall. Anything that needed to be addressed, someone from Women in Action was always present. Mm-hmm. That was a good thing.
Mm-hmm. I was the president of Women in Action, and I enjoyed it. I already had good friends here and my sisters, so it just continued on. I enjoyed it very much.
I was an interim president. The president at the time was out on medical leave, and I was the first vice president. So for about 8 or 9 months, I was an interim president. And Sarah?
Yeah, I was president of Women in Action. Yes, I enjoyed it, and as she said, very strong-willed women, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, and I was president for 2 years.
Well, I was never elected. I enjoyed it very much and made wonderful friends over 40 years.
I think we were hard workers. We worked hard. We did. We carted food. We cut up. Remember some dances we had down at the postal carrier?
Yeah.
I never seen. So I swear I'd never eat another piece of jicama. We peeled at the Corrines house. We peeled jicama, carrots, celery. Oh, we worked hard. Most of our things we worked hard. At the day of the races, we worked hard.
We had fabulous day at the races, though.
Yeah,
we
but
really
had
did.
And that's where I have met all of my good friends. Mm-hmm. I met through Women in Action. The people that I consider my real friends, I met through Women in Action.
Mm-hmm. And I just want to say one more thing about Women in Action. We have had so many members who have become ill or who have passed away, but we have always showed up.
Yeah, that's
for
true.
Every one of them, we have shown up.
That's true.
And I think that gives us all a sense of camaraderie and togetherness through all these years.
It was Shirley, Donna's mother, and Shelley that got me in. We had just moved back from the East Coast. My husband had gone back there for graduate school. And we were George and Shirley's neighbors. And somebody McBride was running for city council. And there was a fundraiser someplace up here in Altadena. And Shirley recruited me to come and help. You guys were sponsoring this fundraiser. And we worked like dogs. And Shelley said, Cheryl, you're a good worker. Why don't you come on and join this organization? I said, well, I think I will, Shelley.
So you never remember a lot of these things.
And I want to mention two members, Betty Brown and Mary Allen.
Oh, yeah.
They were very instrumental in our fundraisers, and they were a ways and means team that just motivated everyone. You couldn't say no to Vanny or to Mary. They were just in this. And throughout the years, matter of fact, I have a box of stuff in the garage I want to go through. But I ran across our brochure of when we were going to buy a house. And we had so many people in real estate in this organization at that time. It was very interesting. But our goal at that time was we wanted to buy a house and name it for us over on the east side, which we never did complete. But we also kept a meeting place, and we met in our homes, and we had some camaraderie but we were business. We not only had fun, we took care of business.
Sandra Knox was also very instrumental in our political scene. Sandra was always wanting us to go downtown. So we gotta get together and go downtown. Or we had to march or something like that. Sandra was also she was the head of neighborhood housing, and she would bring a house. Here, you guys, we can buy this house. It was a lot of work, but it was meaningful.
And we also have to, I want to piggyback on Sandra, but throughout the community, at that time, Ray Cortinas was our superintendent. There was not a time that when we had a problem, we could not walk into his office unannounced or announced, but he was dedicated to Women in Action. And most of that time also, we needed the input for Jackie. The counselors at all of the schools worked with us. We did not have a problem getting essays or for the students to write about Jackie Robinson. So they were very interested, and we dwelt on the perseverance and how far they had come from starting out to how far they had gone. Donna was going to mention our George Jones Award. George was our reason. And when we implemented the George Jones Award, it was not an award, it was a scholarship. It was for a law student or a student that was studying law or who was already in law, entering law. And it was for 3 years. We started out with $2,000 a year, but we had to monitor them. We monitored those students. We only had 3, only 2 survived, and we're very proud of the 2 that are out there. So for 6 years, we monitored those 2 gentlemen who are now in law.
We also gave over like $1,500 to United Negro College. Every year we pledged to them. And they used to invite us to their taping because of the amount of money we pledged to them. That was very significant.
And Lou Ross was very proud of us, Marnetta, right?
I think so.
We answered telephones for them, so that made a big difference.
WIA also adopted Cleveland School, and for many years we contributed to their programs and volunteered as well as financial contributions.
Wow, this is really incredible just to hear the testimony and to hear all the great and grand and wonderful things that Women in Action has done in our community. In Pasadena and Altadena, you are truly legends. Part of our hope in producing this piece is to inspire some of the younger ladies and gentlemen within the Pasadena area to pick this mantle up and to keep it rolling. I mean, I had no idea the impact was this deep and this broad, and we hope to get this out so this legacy continues, because you guys have done a beautiful work and we are thankful. I got to see some of it up close and personal, and now we'll let other people see that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.